Greetings, fellow film fans. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mercy, and this is the Funny Pajamas YouTube channel. So now we've finally got our final episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. Now, does it live? Does it stick the landing, or does it falter? Find out further ahead. Now, I'd like to say straight off, if you haven't seen the spoiler warning, spoiler given big and beautiful in the title description and the spoiler warning that's currently up on the screen, beware, because this is a spoiler heavy discussion. And if you don't want to get spoiled and you haven't watched the episode yet, go check it. Save this video for later. Don't forget that. Save this video for later. Go check out the episode and then come join us for a nice discussion. And listen, while you're here, why don't you smash that like and subscribe button, become a subscriber to my channel if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I post something new. So let's begin with the deep, in-depth analysis of this episode. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible because I know I tend to ramble along, and if it does exceed, please forgive me. Okay, so straight off we begin with the pick up from where we left off last episode. That's the Frag Smashers have, taken hostages in the GRC, and it's up to Sam and Bucky to go and, stop them. Now, I would have felt more, invested in, and we begin straight off. Once they begin like that, it's straight into an action sequence where Falcon comes in through the air, Bucky, goes underground, Sharon Carter turns up, and straight off we begin with an action sequence, and I would have felt the actual punch, the severity of this action sequence had they spent a little more time setting it up prior to this. Now we move ahead and they're trying to evacuate the GRC building, and they get half the people up in a helicopter and half in trucks, in big huge vans, armored vehicles, for their safety. And similarly, the Flag Smashers break up. They take these people as hostages. The pilot of the helicopter is a Flag Smasher, and they take as hostage the people in the armored vehicles. And this is where we see Kali, Morgenthau. We see she's getting darker and darker. She's taking more drastic measures. Now, in the beginning of this series, we see, Bucky breaking Zemo out of prison. Okay, and I kind of wondered why he would do that, because at that point in the series, the Flag Smashers hadn't done anything really that that drastic. They hadn't killed anyone at that point. They were just stealing supplies and stuff like that. So I felt the writing in the series could have been done better. But there was originally a previous plot line following the pandemic, following some sort of virus outbreak and a pandemic, and that's how and that Mama Donya, the inspirational character that Kali Morgenthau looked up to, who passes away, that she was somehow involved, and for obvious reasons they decided not to pursue the pandemic plotline. And it was actually because of that the Flag Smashers were stealing medicines and stuff like that. And so they have written around it, and you kind of see it throughout the series, because one thing I felt about the series was the pacing really faltered in a couple of places. Had they set up the GRC and stuff like that a little more, I would have been a bit more invested in the fight and action sequences in the very beginning of the episode. So we see Kali beginning to take more drastic measures. He's like, if we have to, we'll have to kill the hostages. And her followers are like, you're killing people now. And she's like, that's the only language they're going to understand. We have to do it. So her followers themselves are beginning to hesitate. But Kali, we see, is becoming firmer and firmer. And she wants to, really, she doesn't matter if some innocent people die to get her cause, brought forth to, see that her goals are realized. So when Bucky intercepts the armored vehicles, the Flashers take over the armored vehicles and they're driving them. Bucky intercepts them. So Kali is like, just set one of the vehicles on fire. He as a distraction. So you can see she's becoming pretty brutal at this point. So Bucky, he goes and tries to save the people. Meanwhile, John Walker makes an appearance. And meanwhile, Falcon in the end of the last episode, we see him opening the case which Bucky got him from Wakanda. And we see Falcon in his new Captain America outfit, along with the Falcon wings, by the way. And he's got seems to have some pretty cool new Wakandan tech at his disposal. So he's now given up the mantle of Falcon, and he's now, like, a guy says, look, it's a black Falcon, and he's like, no, I'm Captain America, So he's now fully taken on the mantle of Captain America, and he's got the shield. Meanwhile, from the post-credit scene previously, we saw Walker creating his own shield. He's not willing to give up. And Walker interrupts Bucky and Kali Morgenthau as they face off. And he sort of, tells her, faces off with her, I'm here to, it's like he's out for revenge for the death of his friend Lamar. And Kali, she says, I'll do what I have to get my point across. And at that, they sort of argue, and then they get into it, and then they, Bucky and John Walker and Kali Morgenthau, they sort of duke it out with the remainder of the Flag Smashers as well. And all the while, Sam is also fighting off. The helicopter with some of the hostages has taken out, and there's this nice aerial action sequence, and at the end of it, what happens in the fight between Bucky, Kali, and John Walker? One of the vans, the armored vehicles with the hostages, it sort of ends up falling off a cliff, some beams sort of thing, and it's sort of tipping over. And I liked that they took this route with John Walker. John Walker has a choice. He can either pursue Kali and stop her and get revenge for the death of Lamar, or he could save the people in that van. And you see him come to terms with it at that point, and he wants to go after Kali, but he makes the right decision and instead, opts to help save the people in the van. However, he's not able to do it, and just when you think the van's about to tip over, Sam turns up, the new Captain America. It's going to take me some time to get used to saying that Sam's the new Captain America, but whatever. Cap turns up and he stops it. So then Kali, meanwhile, along with her Flag Smashers, they escape, they split up. Kali is confronted with Sharon Carter, who we hear now is the power broker. Now, this is something that was, practically everyone got the hint pretty early on that Sharon Carter was power broker. That was kind of something I felt was not done well. It was straight off the bat, you could tell she was the power broker. They didn't even give us any misdirections or red herrings or anything of the sort. Very unlike how WandaVision was structured. There was absolutely no mystery in that. Straight away, you could guess that she was like the power broker. And that sort of was a bit underwhelming. That's one of the critiques I had of that. I felt, they could have handled it better. It was too blunt, too on the nose. You'd have to be pretty dumb to not see it. So anyway, so Sam ends up, Sharon faces off with Kali, and in the process, Sam arrives and Sharon gets shot, and during the talk between Sharon and Kali, Sharon gets shot, and Sam shows up and he refuses to fight Kali, and Kali's like, why will you not fight me? Why will you not fight me? She refuses to back down. Eventually, she pulls a gun on Sam, and Sharon just shoots her dead, So from throughout this episode, what I liked about this episode was they gave us sort of satisfying caps on all the various plot points that was running. I was really worried on how they would handle so many plot points and bring them all together, but they did handle it satisfactorily. I do think had they set it up a little more, it would have been more impactful. It would have made more of a difference. Like I said throughout, I did not feel stakes. They upped the stakes in this episode, which had they set it up and upped it up straight from the beginning, it would have helped the series and this particular episode by miles. Another thing I liked was that they gave the redemptive arc to John Walker. At first I thought he'd go totally dark, he'd end up killing Kali and stuff like that, but I like that they gave him a redemptive arc. I know I've been sort of I started off pretty meh on the character, but started hating on the character, not the actor or anything, but it was fun sort of hating on the character throughout. And I do feel that the route they took with him was a good route. Now we see him taking up the mantle of US agent, no longer Captain America, but US agent. And I'm interested to see where that goes. I do think he'll be popping up here and there, a lot more in the MCU. And I am interested in seeing that. I felt the weakest part of this series was the Flag Smashers. They did not build them up much. They did not give them much motivational factor. Part of it could be because of that original plot line, which was totally circumvented. So maybe, but that's, we can't do anything about that right now. But I do believe the Flag Smashers and Kali's motivation and stuff was like, it was a weak point in it. On the whole, I felt Sam's arc was brought to a beautiful finish, how he finally takes up Captain America's mantle, and and Bucky even calls him Cap. No, he no longer calls him Sam or anything. He, at one point at the end, he even calls him Cap. And we see Sharon Carter sort of, she gets off the hook. She gets see in the post-credit scene that she gets a full pardon and is asked to come back, into to reclaim her post and her original position as Agent Carter. And you see her walking out, and she's like, she rings up her contacts, and she's like, now we have access to military secrets. And also I do think they're setting her up as a big major villain further on ahead. Now Julia Louis-Dreyfus also makes an appearance as Madame Hydra, that is the Countess. And she's got a long name, and for the life of me, I just never get it right. So I'm going to skip over that, simply call her Madame Hydra. So she comes in, she gives Walker his new uniform, and, sort of recruits him and gives him the name US Agent. So I was satisfied with Walker's, the arc that they gave him. I was also very, very satisfied and happy with the ending that they gave Isaiah Bradley. Now we see the ending, Sam, I will tell you one thing. Soon after everything dies down, they rescue the hostages and stuff. Sam speaks to this guy from the GRC, which, all the news reporters and everyone are recording. And I felt the message he gave, that was a bit heavy-handed. It was a bit too much on the nose. He went sort of he went into a long monologue, and that felt, I thought that was handled a little heavy-handedly. The message, what he was giving was good, but the way it was done, too much of a monologue there. And besides that, I thought they put a cap on everything well. Now we know Sharon Carter's now got access to all these things. And Isaiah Bradley, yes, back to the Isaiah Bradley character. Sam takes him to the museum and shows that how his deeds during the war and how his deeds as a super soldier are now out in the open and recorded, that what he did for his country will never again be forgotten. And I thought that Isaiah, who started off as a very cynical person, you see his cynicism dropping away, and you really feel, I thought Carl Lumbly, the actor who played the role, played it perfectly to a T. And I thought the ending they gave him, the resolution they gave him, was beautiful, and I liked that a lot. Now coming to Bucky's arc, I did feel Bucky's arc was a bit underwhelming. I liked that his arc started off strong, like in the very first episode, first two episodes where he talks to Sam, where he talks to his therapist. We see a bit flashbacks. I even like the bit of him in Wakanda where the programming is removed and stuff like that. But the ending, last episode, I liked the, kind of tough love talk he got from Sam. But his ending felt a little lackluster, a little underwhelming, I would say. And that is the only nitpick I had about Bucky's thing. I thought, had this been a bit longer, this series been a few more episodes, they could have fleshed out a lot more. Maybe had they cut down on the number of plot lines and plot threads and worked around it, because had they worked more on fleshing out the Flag Smashers, the GRC and stuff like that. Even Sharon Carter. I mean, Sharon Carter is so bitter at the end. What made her that way? We barely get a few sentences of it. But, what she went through, why she is the way she is now. Had they fleshed it out a bit more, it would have helped the episode. On the whole, I thought it ended okay. Not as strong as it could have. Now, I do think I have a feeling there will be a second season, because we end up with the title card saying, instead of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the title card says Captain America and Winter Soldier. So I'm guessing if there's a second season, that's Captain America and the Winter Soldier is going to be the name. Now, why I think there's going to be a second season, because I do believe the Emmy considerations are up right now, and they have submitted Falcon and Winter Soldier for Emmy consideration, but I believe it has been given under drama series. It hasn't been included in the limited series category, which if it was just a one season and done thing, then it should have by rules been included in the limited series category. Since they included it in the drama series, I'm guessing there's going to be a season 2. Also, this series, it built up these two characters, fleshed them out well, made us feel for them. But I did expect a lot more buddy cop feel between Sam and Bucky. Their chemistry was good. It was really good. They had lovely jokes, but I expected a bit more on the comedic side. They had some great lines. I will say in some parts of it, this series, the writing is really good in certain parts, but in some parts too heavy-handed, too on the nose. I also thought there were a lot of pacing issues and the structuring of the episodes. Mainly, this felt like a large 6-hour long movie which they cut up. It didn't feel like a series, whereas WandaVision felt more like that. This is definitely a very bingeable series. It'll be fun to just simply binge watch the whole thing. It'll feel like one long 6-hour movie, So I do think that's how it would feel. Watching it all in one go does, you appreciate it more that way than you do watching it episode by episode. So that was my takeaway, since, just before this episode, I binge watched the whole thing. So that I felt it like that. I felt it moved better when you watch it as a whole rather than episode by episode. This series is going to get definitely compared to WandaVision. As such, I do believe WandaVision has a bit of a leg up. This series, it was good. Ended not on as high a note as I was hoping, but I did have my expectations a bit lowered. And I liked that how I felt kind of Kali was a bit similar to Killmonger from Black Panther, where, Kali stands up for something which is her goal, her dreams, her ideas are legitimate. Her cause is legitimate, but she went about it the wrong way, which was similar to Killmonger. And towards the end, the hero of the movie, that is in this case Sam, sort of understands her outlook and takes up her cause, but in the right manner. Similar to how, her cause, fighting with her, facing off against her, changed him and made him realize, and he takes up the cause, but in the right way. Similar to how Black Panther took on the cause, realized what they had done, that it was their job to get involved in all those things. So that was one similarity I felt. On the whole, it was okay. The series on a whole was okay for me. Definitely a little lower than WandaVision. I did have a huge hype for WandaVision. I mean, it wasn't, to begin with, neither of these was my top most anticipated things. That firmly belongs to Loki. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of sad that Falcon and Winter Soldier came to an end so soon. I had hoped they would have increased it. I had hoped there would have been more episodes, but I am thinking there's going to be a season 2. So now all we got to do is wait for Black Widow, and Loki series is coming in June, and I'm so hyped for that. Will definitely be giving you my reviews for that. Actually, I was supposed to, I wanted to give a review for the Mortal Kombat movie, but as it happens here in India, it's released only in theaters. We do not have HBO Max here. It's just so unfair. And due to the rising COVID cases, unfortunately, I didn't want to risk, currently here in Chennai and all over India as such, I didn't want to risk going to the theater because both my parents, I didn't want to cause any problem or such. So I gave Mortal Kombat a miss, and I'm really missing. I wanted to watch that movie. I hope I do get to watch it sometime soon. Hopefully, all you guys out there, what did you think of this series as a whole? Where does it rank for you? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And listen, while you're at it, you can always check me out. You can always contact me on Twitter simply at mercy_d, on Instagram at mercy_sd, and you can check out my Facebook page simply at funny.pajamas. Pajamas with a my, need I say that? And of course, you can always contact me. My email is right up there on the screen. It's mercy@funny-pajamas.com. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to check out the Funny Pajamas website, because we've got a whole lot of content. I know I've not been doing much on it lately. I'm kind of busy with some work that I'm working on. So do check it out. There are some interesting stuff there you'd enjoy. I'd love to hear from you guys. So check it out. The address is on the screen, www.funny-pajamas.com. Need I say it? Pajamas with a Y. That's all I have for you right now, my beautiful, beautiful people. Hope to see you again soon. Stay safe to all my friends out there. This is Mercy, signing out. Bye. Have a good one, everyone.